Oh, yeah. Is it Tuesday already? We finally got a new trailer, if you can even call it that, for The Mandalorian and Grogu this weekend at the Big Game, also known as a very big bowl, but we won't talk about that. The fandom reaction to this trailer has been mixed, to say the least. People pretty upset about the fact that we didn't get a full trailer about plot and all that, and maybe that was a little bit my fault. Maybe not, though. We'll talk about this new trailer, break it down, the fact that Hoth could be back, Tauntauns are back, Bespin in all these connections. We also have leaked images of Lego sets, which confirm the greatest things of all. And we got a lot to get into, and not a lot of time. So without further ado, let's dive into all of it. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing on this fine Tuesday afternoon? It's Tuesday today, and as many of you in the Discord know, I woke up this morning, felt like I was going to, but didn't do that because I still haven't in 12 years or something. And I'm going to keep it that way. Knock on all the wood possible. But, so I'm feeling a lot better now. Feeling better. But I did still call in the reinforcements, and I will introduce our guest again in a moment. But I'm dying to know what you guys thought of that, big game trailer. And we'll watch it a million times over again, and how it's, just a spoof on a beer commercial. We'll talk about it. We'll break it down. But I want to know what you guys think of this trailer. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you, where are our thoughts at? And while you do so, let's start the stream the only way we know how, by saying hi to everybody in the chat. Shall we? Holly, how we doing? Steven in the house. Brandon Baker, what is up? John Groom, how we doing? Cleve Morris in the house. E Shadow, what is up? Papa Boz in the building. That Dave that loves Star Wars, what is up? Fearless, how we doing? Starship 66, what is up? Robert, how we doing? Star Wars Jedi Chat in the house. Darth Plagueis lives. How we doing? Dale Skywalker in the building. Disney Shill. Great name. How we doing? 730 Evie, what is up? King Shadow in the building. Max Rebo is in the house. True Squadron, how we doing? All right, if I missed you, you know the deal. Just yell at me in the chat. Let's give everybody a nice little
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
Okay, so as the internet suggests, a very mixed bag when it comes to this trailer. A lot of Star Wars fans extremely upset that we didn't get more. We're all sitting there like our, favorite character, Kylo Ren, going, more! But I got good news because, well, the leaked images that we got today kind of confirm what we thought was going on, and it makes me happy, okay? So, although we may be disappointed that we didn't get a full-on trailer, I do have good news for you today, and as I can see some people saying, yeah, very disappointed in the trailer. I was too. I thought we were going to get another trailer on board the first trailer, but didn't happen, and yeah, that trailer sucked. It won't be Hoth. You're assuming things, Mike? Oh, I love to assume things, but no, we actually do have leaked stuff that does, further provide information on Hoth. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But before we get to any of it, before we even watch the trailer, let's introduce our guest for today. Again, brought back through to popular demand. One of the greatest YouTube channels out there, especially for Star Wars content. I mean, let's be honest. Has a pretty great, guest host on Wednesday nights. This channel, really good. I don't know what it is about him. Maybe it's his glasses. Maybe it's the chopper in his background. I don't know what it is, but they have a really great guest host on Wednesday nights when they do their podcast. But introducing Ron from Star Wars Jedi Chat Podcast. What's up, Ron? How we doing?
What's going on, Star Wars fans? Thank you for that wonderful introduction. And yes, we do have a great co-host on Wednesday nights. So if you watch this channel, you might recognize him.
Yes, maybe just a little bit, but so well, let's just start. Of course, I just asked the chat what they thought about this trailer. What did you think about the trailer, Ron? And of course, we'll watch it in a second. But what did you think?
Well, and we chatted about it a little bit, but I was disappointed at first. I was hoping that maybe that 30-second, because I kept going to YouTube seeing maybe if they had another longer one coming out afterwards, like we had talked about before. But after watching it a couple times, it does give away, I think, some really cool Easter eggs that are going to be happening. Again, if you guys haven't seen Mike's breakdown, go check that out. It's a really good breakdown of what's to come and where this takes place. So as I continue to watch it, yes, I liked it. I thought it was cool. Again, Hoth and the Tauntauns are OG for me, so that was really neat. But I was hoping for a little bit longer one. I think as obviously as we all were, just a little bit more of the maybe what's going to be going on in the movie, maybe a cameo of somebody, a little bit more for us to digest and talk about on today, tomorrow, Thursday, Saturdays, when we're all doing our podcasts. So it was cool that we got one. I'm glad that we got one, but yes, I was a little disappointed. But all in all, I thought it was cool, and at least we're getting some content, which is
Yeah.
cool.
No, I completely agree. I mean, my disappointment was extremely high, in particular because, the Patriots lost. But no, I was very disappointed because I was looking forward to after the game, whether win or lose, I would get to make a breakdown video of some sort. And I did. I still did. I really debated on whether I would or not. And it wasn't until I sort of pieced things together, which we'll talk about today, on what's really going on here. Because with the Mandalorian and Grogu, they really have not given us much at all. Like nothing in terms of plot, in terms of what's going to happen, and the bad guys and all this. They've really kept it close to the vest and keeping everything a secret, which they tend to do with The Mandalorian. I mean, we talked about season 2 having Luke Skywalker and Ahsoka and Boba Fett. Nobody knew that they were coming. They've kept these things secret for so long. So we really don't know what to expect with The Mandalorian and Grogu. But disappointing has been the word of the weekend when it comes to this trailer. So let's watch the disappointing trailer. Let's watch it. Enough dilly-dallying around. Let's actually watch the trailer. It's only 36 seconds. It's only 36 seconds. So let's take a look at this.
Sometimes we choose our path. Other times the path chooses us. Through it all, we keep pushing forward, driven by a deeper purpose, guided by an unseen force. The journey never gets any easier. The bond just gets harder to break. This is the way.
Only in theaters and IMAX May 22nd.
So I guess my first question to you, Ron, and to the chat is, do you guys actually think this is a scene from the movie?
That's what I've been trying to figure out for the last 2 days. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm not sure. Possibly. I don't know why they would do that, make all of that in reference to the commercial. I'm sure they paid some big money, obviously, for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But again, you can fly around, you got speeders, you got different things. Maybe they're going somewhere where, they can't get a speeder in there, they can't get a ship in there, so they have to take the Tauntauns there. I thought they did a great job. I love how the feet in the snow. I mean, that looks so real. It's
Yeah.
so cool when they're going, when they pan down to that. And then when Grogu just takes the reins and he just, does the whole
Yeah.
thing. I mean, we don't hear him, but and another thing, like you said, Sam Elliott, great voice,
Yes.
cool dude. I mean, I was
Yeah.
just watching that Landman. He's in that this season.
Yeah.
Great actor. But yeah, I mean, that's just like the whole scene. Is he gonna be in it? Is he gonna voice a
Yeah.
monster or something? Do we not know? Is that a little piece as well? Um, so I'm sort of 50-50 on this. I know it's sort of a cop out, but I'm not sure. I think probably it is, and they're on their way to somewhere that they couldn't get to, maybe in a speeder or a ship.
Yeah. I honestly think that it's not going to be in the movie, but it could be like that's how they got there. Like I don't see them wasting time with just showing us that scene of them going across the snow on what could be Hoth, but I think they'll have to get to that Imperial base that we see in the trailer when they're fighting those AT-AT walkers. That will have They just won't show it. So it's almost like a fun little, well, how did they get there? Well, this is the, fun commercial, whatever. And I have heard, and you just mentioned how great it looks, the contrary. At least in a couple scenes, people saying that the CGI looks bad and whatever. I don't know this for sure, but I mean, in the original trilogy at least, Tauntauns were practical effects. I don't know if those were for real Tauntauns or not, but it was definitely the real Mandalorian and real puppet for Grogu. So it's not really a lot of CGI going on there, except for, I guess, the background, which I thought looked great. Either way, I really don't think this scene will be in the movie. It's just a very strange tactic, I think, when you're trying to promote this Mandalorian and Grogu movie. I get it. It's a spiff off of the old beer commercials, the Budweiser commercial. I get that. It's a Super Bowl commercial, and they wanted to make it feel like a Super Bowl commercial. But I think a lot of Star Wars fans heard that there was going to be a Mandalorian and Grogu trailer at the Super Bowl and thought it was going to be completely different. Thought it was going to be an actual full trailer, because they've done that in the past where they post it online and people lose their minds. And that just wasn't what we got. Now, when we talk about the Hoth connections and the Bespin connections in the Smuggler's Run thing, like I did in my breakdown, and obviously the leaks images that we have today, things start to a little bit come together here. But the biggest thing is whether or not this scene is actually in the movie, because, well, are there going to be Tauntauns in the movie? If there is, this is Hoth. There's only ever been one location. These beings are native to the planet of Hoth, and it's a snowy planet. And we haven't seen that since 1980. Haven't seen that since all the way back in The Empire Strikes Back. So I think The Mandalorian has done this time and time again, where they have given us callbacks, like R5 in season 3, the droid that had a bad motivator from A New Hope. And they've done that over and over again, going to the cantina. The cantina, which is now completely changed years after the Empire is gone. So they go to familiar locations from the original trilogy, which is something that we don't really do all that often. So if we were going to go to Hoth and Bespin, two places that haven't been seen since the original trilogy, that would be pretty damn cool. That would be pretty damn cool, if I do say so myself. I did put up a poll asking if you guys liked the trailer or not. We do have 2 super chats to get to here, so let me get to those really quickly, and we'll talk about it. Blood and Guts with a very generous $5 holla. I appreciate that quite a bit. Says, I really hope we don't have to wait till April for the second trailer. No, we'll talk about it 1 second. Let me get to the second super chat, because it has to do with that same first one. Darth Plagueis Lives with a very generous $5 holla. Says, good. I thought I was the only one who liked this trailer. No, I liked the trailer. I did. I just thought we were expecting more. That's for damn sure. And also, when do you guys think that we will get the full trailer? Okay, so now that it's been brought up and you guys are asking about this full-on trailer and when we might actually get it, shout out to the Discord if you guys are not yet in that Discord. There's a link in the description below. And shout out to Haja for sending this, because this is Disney's teaser and full trailer release schedule, at least for their first 3 movies, The Force Awakens, Rogue One, and The Last Jedi. And when you look at these dates, first teaser trailers, especially for The Force Awakens, was 1 year before the movie release, which is a long, long time. But the first full trailer was only 1 month and 29 days, so pretty much 2 months. 2 months before the release of the movie. For The Mandalorian and Grogu, that would be March 22nd, give or take a couple days. So you're talking about March, mid to late March. And yes, that's when the movie released. Rogue One, it was a little bit longer. First teaser trailer was only 8 months, so that one was shorter, but the full trailer was 4 months. So that would put us, we would have already seen it by now. And The Last Jedi, it was 2 months and 6 days. So if you were to ask me, my personal opinion would be that we're getting this full-on trailer at some point within the next 4 weeks. I'd say early to mid, maybe late March, but around that mid-March area. What do you think, Ron?
Well, I'm a little surprised that they didn't drop it during the Super Bowl, but I think because of what this movie is, I think we might get a little bit sooner than that. I think I was thinking during this whole 36 seconds, I'm like, okay, this could appease some of the non-Star Wars fans. Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, cool. I forgot about the Mandalorian and Grogu. Oh, look at there's some Tauntaun. There's Baby Yoda, as everybody calls him still. That's not a Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
So again, I think it sort of clicked a switch for some people that forgot about it that don't get on here every week and talk about it like we do. So I do think that it will come out a little bit sooner because I think that they got to get this hype up. They got to get the hype
Yeah.
up for Grogu to make that $2 billion, and they got to get that. They got to get
Yeah.
Mando back, sort of in the at the water cooler, so to speak. People talking
Yeah.
about it, people wanting to know about it. Not like us, but just the regular normie fans, or even people that are just like Mandalorian fans, maybe even aren't Star Wars fans. And we do have a bunch of those. So that I think is a cool thing. But I think it'll come out a little bit sooner than 2 months before, like those other movies.
Yeah, I agree. I still think that the Super Bowl ad is what's going to kickstart this marketing campaign. And because before that 30-second ad, we didn't get anything. We've had nothing for like close to 5 months now since that first teaser trailer dropped in September. So I think, like you just said, it's going to ramp up, and it's going to ramp up quickly. Yes, they have to promote for Maul Shadow Lord at the same time, but that shouldn't be a concern. I mean, they did it with Rise of Skywalker and The Mandalorian at the same time. But I do think that a lot of the marketing for The Mandalorian and Grogu is going to be like this, in the way that it doesn't reveal anything. Doesn't reveal a single bit of the plot, or maybe a little bit of the plot, but not like anything big. I still think they're going to try to get into this movie with all the shock value still maintained. Think about all the movies that made a shit ton of money. All the movies that had these big reveals. For example, like a Spider-Man No Way Home, full of cameos of Andrew Garfield coming back, Tobey Maguire coming back, even Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock as Daredevil in there. And that's what fans want to go to the theaters for. This shock value, big, oh my God, event, scene that blows your mind. And when you can keep that a secret, when you can keep that a surprise for fans when they sit down in the theaters and watch the movie, that's when you get the word of mouth to go, holy crap, you have to see this movie. And when they ask why, you go, I can't tell you. It's a huge surprise. Go watch it to see for yourself. And that's when it becomes big. So I hope The Mandalorian keeps that surprise and shock value that it had through the first 3 seasons. And at least the way that they're marketing it right now, they're trying to keep stuff secret. Like, there's a clear purpose to them not revealing too much with all this. Now, I will say, the Lucasfilm marketing team did have to come out and say something because of the, I guess, backlash to this, as they said this. So this is Ryan, who's the brand lead for Lucasfilm marketing. He had this to say. Our creative and marketing team landed on a unique concept that gave a nod to classic big game spots of years past. It captures the warmth, humor, and emotional connection between these two beloved characters and was the perfect next step for our campaign as we lead up to their big screen debut this summer. Again, he mentions that there is indeed a campaign and steps to it. This does give me some, hope, I guess, that there is a plan and that they got something ready to go here with this campaign for marketing. I mean, the biggest thing about Star Wars is, at least for the first 5 movies, they marketed the hell out of them. Like, they are really, really good at marketing these movies and even their TV shows. So I'm not concerned from a marketing perspective. And as Ron mentioned too earlier, you had millions upon millions upon millions of fans who might not even have known that there was a Mandalorian and Grogu movie coming out until they saw that trailer while they were watching the Super Bowl. And just because it didn't give us an insane amount to talk about, even though we do have an insane amount to talk about, it still got those normie fans to go, oh, they're back. They're making a movie. Oh, okay, cool. Like, that's sort of the idea of it. People who are normie fans who didn't know about it already, those millions upon millions, tens, if not 100 million of people who are watching the Super Bowl all saw that trailer and went, okay, here we go. Did any of the sequels make $2 billion? Yes, The Force Awakens made $2 billion, 2 point something billion. But the rest only made one. I think The Last Jedi made like 1.5, 1.4, maybe 1.6. And Rise of Skywalker made like 1.1 or something. And Rogue One made 1.5 or something too. So, yeah. That's why Ron's theory, is a little crazy. It's a little crazy, but I love it. So what do you think on this,
Well, I think
Ron?
I think that what we're going to get is going to be similar to The Force Awakens, because we got a little bit, but then when Han and Chewie come on the Millennium Falcon and we see
Yeah.
that, again, Star Wars fans, mind blown, again. But I think this thing was for us fans.
It's a trap.
I think that they were sort of drawing us in, and then, all right, we're gonna pull it back a little bit, like you just said, and like I mentioned before, a lot of people are like, "Oh, there's a Mandalorian and Grogu movie now, cool."
Yeah.
But I think that the next one I think we will get a cameo like that. I know somebody had just said something about Rogue One with Vader, and we had no idea at the end. It was freaking awesome.
True.
But the throwbacks and the time period for this, and that's why they can use those Easter eggs from the original, when we're going to Tatooine, when we got R5, the Tauntauns, things like that. That's going to bring people in my age and other people that saw the originals, because I'm guessing that the originals are probably the most viewed out of all of the movies at this point, just because they're that much older. If people are getting into Star Wars, those three have to be seen at some point, obviously.
Yeah.
So I think once we do get a trailer, I think it's going to be a big reveal on maybe not the storyline, but I think we will get some sort of pretty big cameo for us, so almost like that fan, what do you call it? The fan, when they do something just for us, for the fans.
Fan service, yeah.
Yeah, fan service, thank you. I think it will be a fan service in that I don't think Sigourney Weaver is that big of a fan service. Okay, great, she's a good actor, she's gonna be great in the movie. Sounds like she's not gonna have a big part, but I think that we will get a pretty big reveal in reference to a cameo, so that people will get hyped, excited, and be excited about that, and sort of make it feel okay that we're not getting a plot yet, and that we'll
Yeah.
get the plot, once we get in there. So, because even for The Force Awakens, we really didn't get a plot for that either when you watch the trailers.
True.
You get some cool cameos, we get a little bit
Yeah.
information about it, we see some new characters, but most of these characters we know already from from the live action. So
Yeah.
we're going to get a cameo, I think. Now, if it's a Bo-Katan, okay, that's going to be awesome. But I think it'll be a little bit bigger than that.
I would absolutely love that. But you brought up a great point that I didn't even mention yet. The Tauntauns in this trailer. They're not just appeasing to the kid fan, the kid who's going to come because just Grogu's in it, and they're going to go, "Mom, I want to see Grogu on the big screen." Like, they're appeasing to the older fan too. The older fan who hasn't seen a Tauntaun since they were a kid when they watched the original trilogy all the way back in 1980. Or, like, if you're giving connections to planets like Hoth and Bespin, again, you're drawing in. Star Wars is in such a difficult spot now because there's so many different generations of fans. They have to please all of them. And that's extremely difficult to accomplish. But with The Mandalorian, they've done that. They've already done that on Disney Plus, but they're going to continue on the big screen. Pleasing the OG fans with Tauntauns and Hoth and Bespin and maybe even a Millennium Falcon, which we'll talk about. And then the young fans, the new fans with the baby Grogu and the Mandalorian. Let's be honest, Din Djarin has become a fan favorite character for a lot of new coming fans to Star Wars. And then I guess for the prequel fans, you don't really get too much. We did get the Anakin's pod race was Cobb Vanth's pod in season 2. So you do have a little bit of Easter eggs to the prequel trilogy. It's just so far, I guess, after that it's kind of hard to do. I guess you got Ahsoka and Bo-Katan. They're both around during the Clone Wars. But still, they have a hard task, and that hard task is to please all fans. And this little 30-second trailer pleases at least two big majorities of those fans. Older fans, because it's literally an old Budweiser commercial, and there's Tauntauns and Hoth, and then younger fans because it's Grogu and Din Djarin, two fan favorite characters in recent past. So, yeah, I think it served its purpose. It got people excited because not many people who were kids when they saw the Tauntauns for the first time are watching a guy who loves Star Wars and Star Wars Jedi Chat talk about Star Wars on YouTube. So those people got to be made aware of this existence of this movie, and I think that accomplished it. Oh, I just got rid of Ron. Hang on, Ron. Wait, we're coming for you, Ron. There we go.
I think you're right. I think was the big thing, just to have everybody. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. It's coming up. Or oh yeah, it's still coming out in a couple months. So people that have forgot about it. But yeah, the OG and the Grogu fans and the Baby Yoda fans and Din Djarin, the Mandalorian are what people are going to go see. But I think because it's so close to the original, that's why we're getting these big, and we're going to talk about it, but Bespin and Hoth and the Tauntauns and different things like that. Because, like I said a minute ago, there's a lot of OG fans and there's a lot of Star Wars fans that, even like guys like your age and Nick, are fans of, one of their one of the top 5 favorite movies is going to be one of those 3, 4, 5, or 6. For pretty much most fans. So that means they've seen them. Again, Empire Strikes Back, for most people, my age and a little bit younger, that's going to be the number 1 movie for everybody. I loved them all, but Empire was just, it just gives it that little bit more over the top. And I think bringing that in now that we've seen it a few more times and talked about it, it's definitely good for the OG fans.
Yeah, could not agree with you more. Somebody brings up a great point. Dave says in the chat, do you think we could see Lando, considering the tease of Hoth, Cloud City, and he could be the one seen flying the Millennium Falcon? At least he was at the end of Return of the Jedi. I'm very glad you asked because that is the perfect transition into what we're doing here, because this is not talked about nearly enough. You look at the date on this article, it's April 19th, 2025. We're talking almost a year ago. And it's just not talked about enough. The Mandalorian and Grogu and new crew controls coming to Smuggler Run. So the Smuggler's Run ride at Star Wars parks, Disney World, Disneyland, whatever, at Galaxy's Edge is the ride that you take the Millennium Falcon and you and 3 others get to fly the Millennium Falcon on a mission for Hondo Ohnaka. At least that's what it is now. And it takes place during the sequel trilogy. When this movie releases, when The Mandalorian and Grogu comes out, you will not be in the sequel trilogy anymore. You will be in the events of this movie alongside Din Djarin and Grogu on a wild adventure. You can see TIE fighters blowing up right there. And there's 3 specific locations that you are going to. Now, does this confirm that the Millennium Falcon itself could be in this movie? Not 100%, but it definitely makes it interesting. Jon Favreau said the events of this ride take place right off screen from the movie's events. So meaning these locations, the Millennium Falcon itself, and whoever is piloting the Millennium Falcon could all very well be in this movie. It's not confirmed, but at least they take place right off screen from the movie. So why not put them right on screen? But you got the Millennium Falcon. And the 3 locations is what makes this so intriguing, is what makes this little big game teaser trailer feel like something way bigger. So let's take a look at those 3 locations. The first one, and it kind of makes sense, is Coruscant. Coruscant was in Mando Season 3. It was in Ahsoka Season 1. So going back to the main capital of the New Republic doesn't really surprise me too much. I guess the only question would be why? Like, why are Din and Grogu going back to the main hub of the galaxy? I don't know. But one of the locations being Coruscant, not all that surprising. The next 2, however, are pretty wild. The first one being the wreckage of the second Death Star. As you can see, this nice new Razer Crest that we're getting in the movie, and somebody with a jetpack right outside of it, and looks like an astronaut of some sort right there. But this connects directly to the sequel trilogy, because the second Death Star wreckage is, in Rise of Skywalker. But I don't know why they would go here. I mean, any predictions at all why they would be going to the second Death Star, Ron? And I'll open it up to the chat too because I got nothing.
And that's what planet is that on?
So
That's
it
on.
would be over Endor, but I forget the name of
Oh,
the
that's
planet
right.
that it crashes on because it crashes on like a moon. Well, Endor itself is a moon, but it crashes on a different planet because in the Rise of Skywalker they go to that planet instead, and that's where Kylo and Rey have their fight in the rain, or in the waves. I don't even know. But either way, I mean, why would Din and Grogu be going to the wreckage of the second Death Star?
Well, I think possibly in same reason that Ray had to go there. There's something there that they need or want, possibly. Again, with all the other stuff that we see there, we'll have to see. But I think that there's enough knowledge or technology or something there. I mean, there was a wayfinder there,
Yeah, but I
so
don't think
there's
Din and
something
Grogu will be looking
there.
for a wayfinder though.
No, no, but I think that there's other things there besides that. I mean, obviously, that was a integral
Yeah,
part in a big piece.
yeah,
So maybe not that big, but I think that possibly there is other things there that they might be going to look for. Coruscant, absolutely. I think we're gonna go there. But the second Death Star, it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I don't know why they would go there. I'm on the same page with you. I don't know what the reason would be for them to go there, except for maybe to find something that they need to. But then I look back and go, well, then now you're just copying, Ray. She's got to go to the Death Star to find
yeah.
something new or
Well,
or old or whatever.
yes, I think the coolest part of this is that it's still in space because when they get there, it's and people in the chat helped us out. The planet's called Kefber or Kefbir. Either way,
Sure.
it's another moon of Endor. So when they get there in the sequel trilogy, which is again 25 to 30 years after this, it's crashed on that planet. And again, I know it's the biggest complaint ever. The dagger points directly to the throne room, but if you've kept up with canon, let's say, then it has been explained with the Ochi of Bastoon stuff and Palpatine going to him and talking about. It's all in the Shadow of the Sith novel if you want to read it, but I won't spoil it all. But that's on the planet. So this is before it ever crash lands on the planet, and you can see that it's still up in space. So that I don't know why they're there, but it's going to be cool nonetheless to see this happen. I mean, I don't know. If the Millennium Falcon is there, that means whoever's piloting the Millennium Falcon, whether it's Lando, or Han or Chewie, any of them, they were all at the Battle of the Second Death Star. So maybe they're a part of the reason that they come back to this location. I don't know. But the third and probably most important location of them all in terms of this trailer we got on Sunday is Bespin. That shot right there is so freaking cool. You got the Millennium Falcon next to the Razer Crest going towards Cloud City, fighting TIE fighters and Imperial shuttles, and you got the nice little Star Destroyer looking thing up there in the sky too. So badass. But Cloud City, the return over 45 years after its initial reveal, I guess, yeah, reveal in Empire Strikes Back. Lando, of course, was in charge of Cloud City for quite some time. And that's, again, why people think that Lando might be piloting the Millennium Falcon and not Han. I really don't know. But why do you think they'd be going back to Bespin? Clearly, it's under Imperial control. So whatever they're looking for here, it might be, as you said earlier, a trap. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think that well, I don't know if it'll be a trap to go there. Again, I think that they're looking for something. Um, you have, like you said, you have the Razor Crest, you have the Millennium Falcon, you also have TIE fighters and stuff. So it's the remnants of the Empire that are going to be there at
Yeah.
this point. So I don't know. I think honestly, I think we're going to get into it here in a second because of the other planet that's close by.
Yep.
But I think that that's there's possibly, again, why did he go and when he was with Mayfeld? Why did he go back and do some of those things? It could be part of just some of the little bit of the plot that they're going to do, maybe at the beginning with Embo or something like that. And it's a throw in. Let's do an Easter egg here. This will be cool. We'll have 5 minutes here, appease some of the fan service for some of the OG people, and it's close enough to this planet we can go over here and use that. So it'll be interesting to see what all of this is going to come together with, because these are some OG stuff that that we're going to have explanations for, and why they're going to be there and what they're doing there.
Yeah, because they can't just do it for fan service sake. There has to be a reason for it. And as you just mentioned, and I'll bring it up now, on the Star Wars galaxy map, as the original trilogy plot does confirm, Hoth and Bespin are very close by to each other. So you can see the two of them pretty much on top of each other right there with Bespin and Hoth. Oops. And the reason this is so significant is because of that snowy planet from the original trailer. Now, Tauntauns and a snowy planet in this teaser trailer, even if it's not a real scene, it all points to this snowy planet being Hoth. As much as I would love it to be Ilum, which eventually becomes Starkiller Base, it would make sense because Hoth would have an Imperial base on it. Just because, the Imperials took over the rebellion in their base in episode 5. The other cool thing about this is, if you're looking at, I guess, location-wise, is right down here, a little south of Hoth, is Navarro, which is where Din and Grogu are out of. It's, their home base, if you will. So it makes sense for them to easily just hop on this hyperspace lane and go right up to Hoth, where there's an Imperial base. That's why we see AT-AT walkers on the cliff in the snow in the first trailer. And then Bespin's right nearby, and it makes perfect sense as to why Bespin is a location that you would go to in the Smuggler Run ride with the Millennium Falcon and whoever the hell is piloting it. So even though this 30-second teaser trailer doesn't really give us much information at all, just gives us some fun tauntauns with Sam Elliott for some reason, narrating it. It still does tie some loose ends together. And those loose ends get even crazier when we look at the leaked image that we got for some Lego sets. You got to take a look at this. Okay, so let's go back to this map for a second here. Hoth, Bespin, right there next to each other. Now, does this look familiar to you, Chet? Right here, we got 3 Lego sets, but we're going to start with just the first one in the top left. Perfect. Right here. It just says ATR-T attack. That's all it says on it. So you got Grogu and Din Djarin in the ATR-T that we saw from the trailer, or I guess the leaked trailer. And then you got this nice little, tower here. And as you can tell from the box, that is also on said snowy planet.
Does it say on the box what planet
Hoth?
it is or anything?
No.
It does say Hoth?
No, it doesn't.
Oh, okay.
It just says ATR-T attack because they're trying to keep it a secret.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, looks pretty Hoth-like to me, especially with this turret that we saw on Hoth. Now, again, these turrets could be, made on other planets, but they're making us think Hoth for one reason or another. Yeah. It's a cannon. Okay, cannon. Whatever. Turret, cannon. Same thing. Same thing. Okay. But we also get a first look at a snow trooper right there, too, which is really cool. And there's a bunch of different troopers that we're going to see in this movie. I guess we can look at the other Lego sets while we're at it right now. Because we got 2 others. Oops. First one being Grogu himself. This one's just called Grogu. He's honestly, the planet is a little strange there. What the hell's that? Looks a little jungly to me, and we haven't really seen a jungly planet. Looks like Osis, if you ask me, which is where Luke Skywalker's Jedi Temple is and where he trained with Luke Skywalker. Interesting. Scrolling down here. He's holding something blue in his hand. Don't know what that is. Nothing in his other hand. And he's got his nice little mud horn right there. Something up his sleeve that you can shoot out or something. Either way, very cool. I don't know. What do you think of this, Ron? The jungle behind him. It
I'm
does
not
say
sure.
it does say on the left side that it's for the Mandalorian and Grogu right there. So
Well, and I think we're gonna get a bunch of new so, I mean, and it almost looks like I mean, how cool would that be for him to or for them to go to Dagobah at some point just because it's such a force sensitive planet? And,
that will be
I'm
wild.
sure there's remnants or something that, Yoda has left behind. Maybe Luke sort of puts them that way. So it'll be interesting to see. But I mean, it almost looks like a Dagobah style planet.
Yeah, kind of. To me, it looks more. I'll get to that super chat in one sec. To me, it looks more like Ossus, which is the planet where Luke and Grogu train in Book of
True.
Boba Fett.
Yeah.
With the sun especially coming through what looks to be like bamboo, which is what Luke sort of
Mhm.
climbs up. So, I mean, this is Mandalorian and Grogu merch. Says it right there on the box. If we're going back to Ossus, that would be pretty damn cool. Uh, my imagination, because I kill everybody off, immediately goes to Din Djarin is dead. Grogu needs help. He goes to Ossus to get help from Luke, and this is where all that happens. But that's I guess where my mind goes.
Yeah, well, and that makes sense though. That could definitely happen because we've seen it now. Everybody knows that's watched The Mandalorian knows Luke pops up in season 2 and he starts to train Yoda. So I think that could be a very good possibility for them to go back and get some advice or something from Luke, maybe some help, but he's like, "Nope, I gotta stay here and work on this." But, here's some information, here's somebody to go see, here's whatever the case may be. So that is a very good possibility that that's what this is, what is it, Oasis?
Ossus, yeah.
Oasis.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, and I think that would be cool because we have a deep fake. I like that deep fake of Luke. I thought they did a good
Oh, it's
job with
great.
with that. Somebody had mentioned earlier, I don't know if it was Holly or who it was, but somebody had mentioned that they think Luke and Leia will be in this. You're gonna have to do a much better deep fake than you did in Rogue One, I think, for Leia. Um,
Yeah. But
or
but
I don't even know if that was that a CGI or was that a deep fake?
well,
Do we
deepfake and
even know?
CGI
But Luke
there's
obviously
they're
was
the
a deep
same.
fake. Okay, so I thought CGI was just like they put somebody on there, where deep fake was they'll take me or whatever that actor's name was
Yeah.
that played it, and then sort of give him Luke features. Um, so you're gonna have to do something like that, I think, and maybe bring that character back. But if they do that, I don't think they're gonna be in there very long. I think it's gonna be a scene or 2 maybe, and then we're out because we can't just focus on the whole Luke thing again, which we already have seen him, so maybe we'll see a Leia. But I think and especially if we're talking about the Millennium Falcon and we got Lando in there, that's gonna be interesting because you can't bring Donald Glover back because
Yeah.
he's much older, and you can't bring, Billy D. Williams back because he's way older now. So
Yeah.
that'll have to be a, a good deep fake as well when they get on there, where I think that Hondo is a much better possible pilot somewhere or cameo in here because you can put the prosthetics on him and whatever you need to in makeup to make him look like his species.
It would be really wild if they showed us the Millennium Falcon and they like hyped it up like, "Oh my god, the Millennium Falcon's back. Who's piloting it? What's going on?" And then like the door opens and Hondo walks up. And it's like, "Oh, we thought it was gonna be Han. We thought it was gonna be Lando. It's Hondo Naka." That would be a pretty big letdown. But I like Hondo, so I wouldn't really care too much. But it would make sense for Hondo to be the one who steals the Millennium Falcon too. So that would be, I'd be fully on board with that. Somebody brought up Mount Tantus. I didn't even think of that. This is that's also a very jungly planet too. I like that. Kashyyyk, yeah, that's a good one too. That would be cool. To your point though, with the Leia deepfake and a Lando possible deepfake, the Leia deepfake from Rogue One, it's 10 years ago. The
Right.
technology has come so far in so little time. The last time we saw Luke was in 2022, maybe? Whenever that Book of Boba Fett episode was. Again, 4 years ago. Like the technology's gotten even better since then. So I don't think
Yeah.
if they do deepfake these characters, it might cost a little bit of money, but it's gonna look fantastic. So I don't know. I hope this is Osis, and I hope that Grogu is going there to get Luke to come help. That would be fantastic. But I guess only time will tell. And it does come with a mini Grogu. All right, and our third and last one is the Razer Crest, or the new Razer Crest here. And it gives us actually a really good look at the Razer Crest because I didn't know there was this much yellow going on here. Boom, right there. So the new Razer Crest comes with Zeb Aurelius, which is great. I feel like Zeb's kind of been pushed under the rug because we are waiting for a trailer and we don't really know much about the movie, but Zeb's going to be a main character. Sigourney Weaver's character, Grogu and a stormtrooper. And that's all it comes with. Oh, and Din Djarin. It comes with Din Djarin. So, I mean, what do you guys think of the new look for the Razer Crest? They had to do something because it couldn't be the exact same look as the of the old Razer Crest, just because that blew up and fans would be so confused on when this takes place. So they had to do something. But what do you think of the look?
I think it's cool. I like they had to bring it back. It was such an epic vehicle, starship, when it came out,
Yeah.
and then I think we were all devastated when and it's not like the first season where it got dismantled by the Jawas and excuse me, and they had to put it back together. I mean, there's no putting it back together. It was the little shifter knob and his shaft of well, I'm having a brain fart here. What's the Mandalorian metal?
Yeah, Beskar.
Yeah, Beskar, thank you. So he had that, the steel, the pole from Beskar and and the little the one back together. But I think this is a great ship. I think it's something that we're gonna have from now on. I think this will
Yeah.
continue to stay in the universe, and then this because I don't think that it sounds like it when you watch the 3 seasons, it sounds like it's a very rare ship at this point as well. So
Yeah.
obviously there's not, a whole bunch of Razor Crest just flying around. So they're very rare. And hopefully, obviously, with this here, it looks like that's gonna possibly, as we've talked about before, is that it's gonna be Zeb's ship, and maybe he
Yeah.
lets him borrow it or they all go together on it. Because we are gonna have to do something with the N1 Starfighter as well that he has, which I think is a badass ship too.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know what they're gonna do with the M1 Starfighter. Maybe it can land on top of the Razor Crest or something. Maybe it gets destroyed. I don't know. But as you just pointed out, like it's a rare ship. I like the connection that it could be the same Razor Crest seen at Maz's castle in the Force Awakens, which would be really cool. But we did get a super chat a second ago, and I wanted to get to this because, as I just mentioned, we could get a ton of sequel connections in this upcoming movie. But as I think it was Mike. Yeah, as Mike said in his super chat, it was a very generous $2 holla. Says, could Mando visit the Death Star 2 destruction, which we just looked at, and be the one who causes it to fall to the moon's surface, causes it to fall to Kef Burr or whatever it's called, and that's where we see it in the Rise of Skywalker. I would like that quite a bit. I like when they do that with the Mandalorian, where stuff that they do affects the sequel trilogy. Like now, if you were to watch The Rise of Skywalker and that was the truth, that somehow whatever they do here is what pushes the debris closer to the moon and to the surface, then when you watch The Rise of Skywalker, you'd be like, oh, Din Djarin did that. Like that would be so cool. I like little connections like that, not just back in time to the original trilogy, into the prequel trilogy, but into the future too, because Mando's in this weird spot, limbo land in between the trilogies. What do you think of that, Ron?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with that. That would be cool. Again, just any little Easter eggs to throw things back for people to pick up on. Um,
Yeah.
and I think that people like us and everybody in the chat is probably going to pick up on stuff like that more than the normie fans. So I think that will sort of help out with some of the people that have had some problems with, some of the CGI or some of the sequel stuff. I think if you're able to, like you said, relate it to the sequels, relate it to the prequels, relate it to the OGs, and yeah, and I think that's a great point where it could be the one at Maz's castle. That would be
Yeah,
cool as hell, I think, and we
that would be
get a
awesome.
little story about that, who it is, or, maybe it gets stolen again, or whatever the case may be, because you're gonna have to have some sort of, because we don't see Zeb. He's not in the sequels.
Nope.
So, how does it get there, and whose is it? And will we find out? Maybe not in this movie, but if we get the trilogy, which I think we both think we're getting, at some point, we're gonna have an idea, or they're gonna answer that question with someone that has that Razer Crest and takes it to Maz's castle, which would be freaking cool as hell.
It would be great. And honestly, whether Din Djarin's alive or not, Grogu's definitely alive. So explaining where Grogu is in the sequel trilogy, that's all going to have to happen at some point. I got to bring this up because Tito Benito, great name, says normies don't care about this movie coming out. And then he says, sorry. I don't know who you're apologizing to, but maybe yourself. The Mandalorian is the most normie friendly thing they've made, at least in the last 5, 6 years. I guess you could argue the sequel trilogy, but that again would have been over by then. It's their most popular thing on Disney Plus. Every normie fan and their dog knows who Grogu is, or even they may know who the Mandalorian is. They might not know his name, Din Djarin, weird name, but they know who Grogu is. That's for damn sure. They might even know him as Baby Yoda, but that's still fine. They are all going to go watch this movie because not only is it a Star Wars movie and they like Star Wars, but now it's a familiar face. If they made for example, the normie fans didn't watch Andor. Who the hell's Cassian Andor? Who cares? The normie fans didn't watch The Acolyte because they had no connection, no love for any of those characters. They didn't know who they were. The normie fans watched the hell out of Kenobi. The normie fans watch the hell out of The Mandalorian because there's familiar faces there. I guess not familiar faces, but they're familiar with them now because Baby Yoda, Baby Grogu, is the biggest sensation since sliced bread. Maybe even the wheel. Maybe fire. But either way, normie fans not knowing or caring about this movie could not be further from the truth. It's the most likely of the movies coming up that normie fans would care or want to go see because of one specific little green monster who can wield the Force. What do you think, Ron?
Yeah, I think that's what I go back to, $2 billion. You have this again. You're bringing Star Wars to the big screen again. You're bringing this Baby Yoda back to the big screen, where these normie fans are going to go watch it because they see this. And like we've talked about, and everybody else, and even George Lucas and some of these other people, Star Wars is meant to be seen in the theaters. We haven't had a movie in 6 years. We've had some really awesome live action, some animation, and we got some more coming out this year, which I think will probably hype up some more people as well. That'll catch on to Maul, just to be like, hey, Darth Maul, I thought he was dead. Let me go watch this. Wow,
Yeah.
Star Wars is really cool again. So I think that that's definitely going to help bring in some more fans and into this to see this movie, because you do have these two huge characters at this point that are going from TV to the big screen, and it's Star Wars. And we haven't had anything in 6 years. So there's definitely going to be
Yeah.
more fans going to see this, because the last movies that even I can remember with Solo, I mean, maybe it didn't do as well as everybody thought, but I mean, I was in line and there was
Yeah.
more than me in line. So there was a bunch of people
Yeah.
there. So I think this is going to be a huge step for Disney and for Star Wars and Lucasfilm to get back on maybe not the mainstream, because I think the last few years, I think Marvel has done, maybe not the last few years, but the last 10 years or so, or 8 years, Marvel sort of stepped it up a little bit at the movie theater, because we've been getting live action, especially the last 6 years. We've been getting live action on TV. So with everything that Marvel has done, I think that this is going to be like, oh, Star Wars has got a movie out. We got to go see this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I could not agree with you more. And somebody in the chat even said, no way this is hitting $2 billion. There's nowhere close to the Force Awakens hype. I agree to that to an extent. The Force Awakens had Luke, Leia, and Han returning, and their actors returning for the first time in 30 plus years at that point. So it was a lot of hype. The Chewie we're home stuff, crazy times. In order for this movie to make $1 billion, or even again $2 billion, which would be crazy, but is if it's word of mouth, big surprises, like I mentioned earlier in the live stream. Even if the movie is really, really, really good, in order for it to push over that gigantic hump that is $2 billion, it has to be rewatchable and rewatchable for even the normie fans. And that's going to take a lot. I mean, the marketing still has to ramp up quite a bit over the next 4 or 3 or whatever, however many months we are away. It's going to have to ramp up and get people in the know about this movie. But if something crazy happens in the movie, it'll be all the talk. It'll be like Grogu being revealed in episode 1, Luke Skywalker showing up in the end, numbers, season 2, spiking through the roof. And I think, yes, the hype is not nearly as high as The Force Awakens, but it can get to that level. It's kind of hard when you're bringing back legendary characters. But I guess I'll compare it to a different movie that made well over $1 billion, Rogue One. Rogue One didn't know a single thing about that movie or any of the main characters for that matter. Jyn Erso, Cassian Andor, they're all brand new. And they all die by the end of the movie. Spoiler alert. But it's 10 years old. No. So that movie made a ton of money, 1 point something billion. So I guess only time will tell. I mean, we'll see. We'll put it that way. We'll see. Vader's nose hair. Not a Fed. What's up? How we doing? With a very generous $1. Didn't say anything, but also a 4-month membership badge that just says jalapeno burger, which I still don't understand.
I got a bad feeling about this.
I don't know. I don't get it.
I think, there's a lot of people in the chat that don't agree with me, which is fine. And that's my opinion. And if it comes out and makes $1 billion and Mike's right and I'm not, that's okay. I mean, I get it. But I think that the hype for this has just gone over the top with my main thing is for baby Grogu, for Grogu, maybe Yoda. People are going to go see this movie because of those two characters, meaning the Mandalorian and Grogu, along with it's a Star Wars movie that hasn't come out in 6 years. So
the hype
it's going to do well no matter what. If it doesn't make $2 billion, it's still going to be I feel like it's still going to crush in the box office. And once it gets to Disney Plus, it's just going to get watched over and over again. And look at the merchandise already for it. So it's not going to be a flop money wise. Maybe it won't make $2 billion, but it's not going to be a flop money wise.
Yeah, when you're saying you think it's going to make $2 billion, that doesn't mean if it doesn't make $2 billion or even $1 billion that it's a failure, that it's not a success. You look at movies that came out last year, like Superman. Superman was this wild success of the summer. Everybody loved the Superman movie. It was all the talk. It made like $600 million, which is a lot, but it's not. It didn't even come close to sniffing $1 billion. Then you have stuff like Avatar 3, which was guaranteed $1 billion, but it made it's at 1.6 or something. And Zootopia 2, which is well over $1 billion, and Moana 2, which is well over $1 billion, and Lilo and Stitch, which is well over $1 billion. So movies are making money, but you don't have to hit the crazy goals that we're talking about here for it to be a success. I just think that it has a very high likelihood of hitting that $1 billion mark because of its content, characters, and hype behind it. And as Ron just said, it's the first Star Wars movie in 6 years, over 6 years. So,
and you talk about all those animation movies, the Zootopias and Moana, and all these things that are, kid friendly. Baby Yoda's kid friendly.
Yeah. That's why, I mean, only time will tell, but it has all the workings of what should be a successful movie.
Yeah.
But by the way, this poll from a long time ago now has 57% of you guys saying, yes, you did like the trailer that we got at the Super Bowl, which does seem, to be shifting a little bit. But I feel like a lot of people, as we did, saw it and went, that's it. And then we were kind of disappointed. And then once you realized that we hyped ourselves up. We do it all the time as Star Wars fans, but we get ourselves excited for something that doesn't happen, and then we're disappointed. But I guess that's just how the fandom works, I suppose. But
Well, I don't know if we're disappointed I mean, maybe for a second, but then
yeah,
I think eventually we come around because just like this trailer, yeah, it was a little disappointing, but I think we're going to get another trailer, and then once the movie comes out, people aren't going to care. It's just
yeah,
gonna it's gonna be awesome.
yeah. You'll be like, remember back in February when we were pissed about the trailer? Like that, it'll be like a joke. But you also got to look at this again, which we looked at earlier, of the fact that these full trailers for the Star Wars movies didn't come out until 4 months, 2 months before the movies came out. So we're talking March. We're talking not even in February. We should be getting this, I guess, official full trailer. Because the teaser trailer does just that. It teases the movie. That's what we got in September. Teased the action. It teased just that snowy planet, which could be Hoth. It teased a lot of things. Zeb in action, Stinky the Hut in a gladiator ring, like some wild stuff. But the full trailer will give us more information. Not all the information, because I'm sure there'll be plenty of surprises, but more information. But there's that. And then, yeah, we tied it all together today with the possibility of a trip to Bespin with the Millennium Falcon in the movie. Let me actually ask you guys in the chat, and I'll ask you, Ron, in a second, but end this poll and start up a new one. Do you guys think the Millennium Falcon will actually be in the movie? Because there's no ifs, ands, or buts about the fact that the Smuggler's Run ride will be connected to the movie. That's confirmed, 100% from Lucasfilm, confirmed. But will the Millennium Falcon itself actually be on the big screen? Because that itself, like if we get a full trailer and the end of it is the Millennium Falcon going across the screen, that will gain a ton of hype. We'd be predicting who's piloting that ship, why it's there, all this other great stuff, how it's involved at all in the plot of the movie. That would gain hype very, very, very quickly. So I guess my question to you, chat, and to Ron, yourself, do you think the Millennium Falcon is in the movie? That's good.
I do. I don't think that they're going to give us all this hype for the Disney ride, talking about Mandalorian and Grogu, telling us that we're going to get these scenes or these planets, and then you're literally in the Millennium Falcon, correct? In the ride,
Yep.
So I do think that. I don't think that some of these things, or I think that some of these cameos or things like that aren't going to be a main focus. They're going to be a Darth Vader at the end of Rogue One for a minute or whatever it was, 30, 45 seconds. So I don't think we're going to have the Millennium Falcon flying around like we did at the Force Awakens. I think that we will possibly get I think we'll get a cameo of it. I don't think it'll be a main thing. It could be going to Bespin, maybe running into Lando,
Yeah.
whatever the case may be, or Han. But I think it will be in it because I don't think they're going to hype up the ride and the Disney stuff and then be like, oh yeah, here we're gonna this is and not authorize it, but claim that coming from Lucasfilm and saying, and John saying, hey, this is going to be directly related to the movie and not have the Millennium Falcon in it. And I think that, like you said, I think that would be cool. At the end of the trailer, the Millennium Falcon just flies by and we have no idea who's in it. And people are like,
It does take everything you thought you knew about the movie and throw it up in the air because from our knowledge, there's not supposed to be that connection, specifically to a character like Han or Lando or even Chewie. There's no relationship there between them and Din and Grogu, so that would be something completely new. But it's very, very possible because of the ride. There's no reason for Jon Favreau to come out on stage and say that this ride is directly off screen from the events of the actual movie, and that's why it has to release on the same day as the movie if there's not something revealed in that ride that spoils the movie. So if the Millennium Falcon's in it, great. If the second Death Star's in it, great. If Bespin's in it, great. If Coruscant's in it, great. Or if all of them are in it. If everything I just said is in the movie, that would be so insane, and none of us would have seen that coming. That's the coolest thing. I think there's still so much surprise and mystery about this movie that something like the Millennium Falcon, even just the ship, who cares who's piloting it? Just the Millennium
Right.
Falcon being in the movie would change everything we thought we knew about this film
Yeah, I
in a
mean,
good
it's the
way.
most iconic it's the most iconic ship in Star Wars.
Yeah,
If anybody knows anything, of Star Wars, "Oh, Millennium Falcon, oh, that was that ship that Han Solo," you know? I would, and maybe the chat can help us out. I would be interested to know if there's a timeline of when Han had it, because like you said, I agree with you. There's no relationship with Han or Leia or Luke in this, but what Mando does, being a bounty hunter, at least at the beginning of all of this, you got someone like Hondo, I think would be a perfect pilot for the Millennium Falcon at this point if Han doesn't have it. If
yeah,
if Han still has it, people are gonna and Hondo's flying it, people are gonna have a problem with those things, just like birthdays in here. When you go back to the acolyte.
yeah.
Um, so I think that we will see it. I'm not sure if we'll see those three main characters, you know, either in it or piloting it or doing something like that, because I think Honda would be more of something realistic that he could run into than Luke, Leia, and Han. And you're going to have to bring that story up. And I don't, it's hard to say because, yeah, I mean, you had Luke come in for a second or so, or a couple minutes in reference to the second season, and we've had, Han come back and Leia, all three of them for the sequels, but I think we still have to concentrate and focus on Mandalorian and Grogu because that's who this movie's about. And if you bring someone big in like that, it has to be a, hey, this is what I'm doing right now, and good to see you. Got to go.
Yeah.
We can't have some sort of backstory for them in this, or we do have to have some sort of backstory in this for them. Sorry, to show that this is what we need to have, and this is what we're explaining to you, and this is why Han's not in the rest of the movie.
Yeah, my thing with this whole Millennium Falcon thing is it's very Dave Filoni. I'm watching Rebels right now, and in season 3, there's a whole episode where Sabine goes in and becomes an Imperial pilot for a little bit because she's trying to break somebody out. Turns out that person she's trying to break out is Wedge Antilles, who of
Mhm.
course becomes a very main character in the original trilogy. So they love to do that where it's like a callback to a specific character or a specific thing. They arrive on Geonosis, the episode where Zeb and Agent Callus get stranded together. They arrive on Geonosis and talk about the fact that the Empire was building something outside of the atmosphere of the planet, which is the first Death Star, because that's where it began its construction. And like little Easter eggs like that. So in order for them or cameos of people or things. So it's very Dave Filoni and I guess Jon Favreau now too, because the two work together to do something like give us the Millennium Falcon, maybe not Han piloting it, but the Millennium Falcon nonetheless as a little tease to what's coming in the future. Because yes, eventually this does lead to the sequel trilogy, but there's so much time between now and the Millennium Falcon being on Jakku. So
Right.
much time. So yeah, that'd be really cool. Somebody said the latest, newest short video, 37 seconds, is not a trailer or a teaser. It's some kind of commercial stunt. But why put tauntauns in there if they're not going to be in the movie? Yeah, I mean, I think the tauntauns will likely be in the movie. Why tease us with a I guess recognizable face or faces? But
Well,
yeah,
even like you said, I don't think that they're going to have that whole trailer in the movie, but my opinion is I think they might have maybe half of that, sort of showing them, maybe even pulling up to where they're supposed to be in that little rickshaw or whatever it is with the
yeah,
tauntauns pulling it. It doesn't have to be a 36 seconds where they're going to waste time, trotting along in the snow. But sort of like you said, maybe it's outside or whatever. We get to see it, and they're not going to waste that time. But I think we'll get a little bit of that in there somewhere because it's not going to take up that much time. And like
yeah,
we've talked about before, we can explain lots of things in two or three sentences in 1 or 2 minutes
yeah,
in that to be able to or scroll across the screen.
yeah. Jen Urso says, did Han and Hondo know each other? I don't know if they've ever crossed paths. If it did, it was somewhere in the comics, but I'm not familiar with that either. So it would be a somewhat new relationship. But any sort of interaction between Han and Hondo would be pretty great. Those two characters, to me, would work well on screen together.
Yeah, I would figure that Han knows about him,
Yeah,
especially in
probably.
the smuggler's world, but it's not anything prevalent or it's not going to change the story that we know now if they do or don't know each other personally. But I
Yeah,
think they've heard of each other for sure because, just Han being a smuggler back in the day doing his thing and Hondo doing his thing. I mean, Hondo was a pretty big, as we all know, Hondo was a pretty big deal in the Clone Wars.
yeah, for sure. And at some point, those two must have maybe not crossed paths, but like you said, they know of each other, or at
Mhm.
least Hondo definitely knows of the legendary Han Solo, who's destroyed 2 Death Stars. Uh, Everybody knows
And
about
made the
Han
castle run in 12
and made the
parsecs.
castle run in 12 parsecs. He's got quite the resume there. Yeah. Uh, to that point, though, I will say in this teaser trailer not really being a trailer, it did get people talking. It did its purpose of getting Star Wars fans and
Yep.
normie fans alike talking about this movie. Because whether they liked it or not, they were very vocal about whether they liked it or not, and that became a big, big deal online. Now let's watch this trailer one more time through, just for fun, and then we'll move on a little bit here. So take what the okay, take a look at this. Let's watch it again.
Sometimes we choose our path. Other times the path chooses us. Through it all, we keep pushing forward, driven by a deeper purpose, guided by an unseen force. The journey never gets any easier. The bond just gets harder to break. This is the way.
Only in theaters and IMAX May 22nd.
So, I mean, everything in that trailer is sort of just to get people to talk about it. It is over 3 million views on YouTube. And again, it's got the 100 million views of people watching the Super Bowl. And that was the goal of it in the first place. But the letdown of the trailer was all of the hype that we were getting a full on trailer, which was never confirmed to us. It was just something we assumed was going to happen. And I did too, because it's been 5 months since the last trailer. And we're getting very, very close to this movie, and we need a trailer as soon as possible. I think now we're looking at March, but still a full trailer that will give us something more to look forward to. And as we talked about too, maybe a Millennium Falcon jetting across the screen, which would be fan-freaking-tastic. We did get a new official image, or first, I guess, look at Din and Grogu themselves here too. So let's take a look at this. This comes from, this image. So Disney Consumer Products is launching a new campaign called Disney's Blockbuster Season, which will begin with The Mandalorian and Grogu and will include large merchandise a large merchandise push. So the Blockbuster Season, which goes, I don't know when this Moana movie comes out. Somebody in the chat help me out with the Moana release date. But the Mandalorian and Grogu starts May 22nd. Toy Story's in June. So I'm guessing Moana's in July. Somebody fact check me on that. But the Blockbuster Season, because they have so many big time should be blockbuster movies. The fact that 4 of the last 5 Star Wars movies have made $1 billion, your last 2 Toy Story movies made $1 billion, and your last 2 Moana movies made $1 billion. It's the Blockbuster Season. So this is our look at Din and Grogu right here. We can take a closer look at it. I mean, not much has changed with these two, and they look fan-freaking-tastic. Still got now the all, I guess, brown underneath. Maybe it's black, but in the lighting it looks brown. And the nice reflection off the Beskar and Grogu on his shoulder. The Grogu on his shoulder thing. What do you guys think of that? What do you think of that, Ron? Like, this is not something we've seen before. He usually had the pod, or he was in the satchel on the side. Is this just to sort of show off his new Force abilities and how much stronger he is now?
Yeah, I think so. I think it shows that he's getting a little bit older as well. And he doesn't need his little stroller anymore. He doesn't
Yeah.
need the little satchel anymore. Because again, a couple times in the teaser trailer that we got, a few months back, you see him jump onto his back as well. So I think that's where his new spot is. Again, Mando can do more things with him on there. He's got two hands. He doesn't.
Oh, we just lost Ron completely. And just like that, Ron has vanished. What the hell? Okay. Oh, wait, he's back.
He was able to close it. Oh,
He's back.
uh,
Okay.
so he was able to close it, but I think it's showing maybe not maturity, but I think he's growing older, and it's a little bit different from him going from the pod to the satchel, and now just sort of hanging out on Mando's shoulder until he gets a little bit bigger. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah. I think it is sort of a Grogu. Din Djarin has gone through quite the arc over 3 seasons, going from just a bounty hunter, hates droids, to a leader of Mandalore as he reclaims his home world. And he's okay with droids now. But he's gone through quite the arc. Grogu is more so on a how quickly can we raise this child? Because he's, yes, going to be very powerful with the Force, but he's still very small. And as you can tell from season 1 to now, he takes down the Mudhorn and then has to sleep for like the next 3 days. Now he's jumping around like it's nothing, and he's perfectly fine. So it's him developing as a stronger Force user just by showing him now jumping up on the shoulder instead of being in the pod or like a baby, or in the satchel even as a useless baby. Uh, so it's more, I guess, use for Grogu. I think you're going to see him wield the Force a lot more in this movie than we even saw in season 3, where that was a lot more because he had trained with Luke Skywalker. But nonetheless, very, very cool. Get another look at the two of them, which is very awesome. Can I get some good cups follow orders in the chat, please? Bumpa. Okay. But okay, fix that. But this
Do we
is
know
really
what the
cool.
time frame is? Do we know
On
what the time frame is from season 3 to now for this movie?
I don't
Is there
think
any
so.
official word?
Um,
No.
I think the Disney Plus stuff goes in order. It has
Right.
been so far. So Mando season 1, then Mando season 2, then Book of Boba Fett, then Ahsoka, then then Mando season 3, then Ahsoka, and then Skeleton Crew. So technically, the last thing that we've seen from this time period is Skeleton Crew, and then the Mandalorian and Grogu will take place after that. So how much time has gone by since season 3? I have no idea.
Okay.
Hopefully, we'll get an opening crawl or something to explain that at the beginning of the movie, which would be great. But I really don't know. Yeah. Okay, but what do you think of this? The blockbuster season thing. And somebody did say in the chat that Moana comes out July 10th. So you got May for Mando, June for Toy Story 5, and July for Moana. They expect all these movies to be big time successes. And I mean, I do too. The track record is there. The Mandalorian and Grogu being a Star Wars movie, Toy Story having made billions of dollars in the last couple of movies, and Moana, the same thing. This is a live action version of Moana, but still. What do you think of this whole blockbuster season thing? I kind of like it.
I think it'll be fun. I've always liked. I haven't seen any of the Moana,
Yeah,
but
me either.
Toy Story
Plus on the first one.
is fantastic, and I think they're doing a good job with promoting everything because, like we've talked about, you got Grogu right there with everybody. So this is the thing that people are like, oh my gosh, there's a Star Wars, a Toy Story, and a new Disney Moana movie coming out. So this is a good. I think this is a good publishing stunt or whatever you want to
Yeah.
call it. Just like and that's when we were looking back on the 30-second trailer again. I think it's a cool thing that because 80% of people watching the Super Bowl probably didn't even know that there was a Mandalorian and Grogu movie coming out. So that just sort of turned the switch for that, as much as we didn't like it or we were hoping for more. And I think that's it too. 80% of people had no idea, even if they knew there was a Mandalorian and Grogu movie coming out, they had no idea that we all thought that this was going to be a new trailer coming out.
Yeah.
And for them to see 30 seconds of this in the last 5 months, I was like, oh, cool. I forgot about that. So I think that was a good thing for them just to push out there. And I think it didn't go over well with the big Star Wars fans, like everybody that's here today, you and I and Nick and
Yeah.
Derek and Brandon, all of us were like, okay, we got to get one. We're talking about it. There might be one, and 80% of the other population doesn't even talk about this stuff,
Yeah.
So I think that was a cool little move. As we continue to talk about it, I'm digging it more and more, and I think they did a good job with it. But I also think, like we said earlier, I think it's going to be a little bit sooner that we're going to get it, because now people are hyped up. People that forgot about it or just saw this were like, "Ooh, I want to learn some more. I want to see some more about this." So I
Yeah.
think we're going to get it a little bit sooner than, I don't think it'll be in the next week or two, but I think it'll be before 2 months comes around.
Yeah, I agree. I think if we won't be waiting till April, especially because that's when Maul Shadow Lord starts, so they're not going to want to put the two on top of each other. But to your point too, like 2026 is just a jam-packed year. As Star Wars fans, it is Ahsoka season 2, this movie, and of course Maul Shadow Lord, and more. 2 video games and the Vision spinoff, whatever. But just in general, like you look at those 3 big movies for Disney right in a row, boom, 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 and then they got Spider-Man. They got Doomsday to finish off the year. You got Supergirl for DC. You got The Odyssey that also comes out in July. It's a Christopher Nolan movie. Like it, and that's just movies. Like the shows are even crazier. So it's going to be a really big year for just content in general. And it's great to see that Star Wars is one of the key pieces in that. I guess with the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. But I do want to pull this up because we did talk about some of this, but there's more to it. So, Star Wars issues official statement following confusion of the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, which we did talk about. This one from Ryan saying that our creative team, blah, blah, blah. But what I want to get to is this. Disney Executive VP of Creative Marketing, Jackson George, added this. Grogu is more than a character. He's a pop culture phenomenon. Riding alongside the heroic Mandalorian, he brings lightness, humor, and joy, an instant emotional connection that transcends the moment. This big game spot celebrates how deeply we love and connect with these characters, reminds us of the fun, heart, and spectacle that defines Star Wars, and offers a bite-sized promise of the experience that audiences will get when they see these 2 beloved icons on the big screen. So again, he brings up that this is just a tiny little bite size of what we're going to experience as audiences in the movie theaters, with stuff like callbacks to Tauntauns or Hoth, and the cuteness of Grogu and Din Djarin and how badass he is. All of that can be conveyed in a 30-second beer commercial ad for the Mandalorian and Grogu. And again, Grogu is this phenomenon, and he still is, and he's going to be. So they know what they're doing here, and it does give me hope that they have a plan, at least in terms of marketing the movie, and this was just a small step in that said plan. Also, he goes into how deeply we love and connect to these characters. It'll be interesting to see how many people go back and watch The Mandalorian before this movie comes out, just how the numbers work. Because as they start marketing this movie, there's going to be so many people who go, okay, let me catch up on my Mandalorian and Grogu. We haven't seen the 2 characters since season 3, which is 3 years ago. So it's been a while, and the first 2 seasons, as most people will agree with, are very very great. They're really good.
I'm watching it right now.
There you go.
Again.
So I'm timing it perfectly so that me and Sam are watching all the Mando stuff right before the movie comes out. Hopefully, I think we're behind schedule, but still, I'll be watching those 3 seasons before this comes out, and I'm sure many other Star Wars fans will. Not the normie fans, I suppose, but still. Remembering how great those 3 seasons of television were as you get excited for this next one. That's what excites me. But yeah, you do see the fan reaction of what the hell was that? Was that the trailer that was disappointing? All that was sort of the initial reaction to this trailer, because it didn't give us too much. It didn't give us much at all. But this does give me hope that there's an idea again, steps to their campaign to promote this movie, and that within the next couple weeks or at least next month, we'll be getting a full trailer, just like these movies got a couple months before the releases, and the marketing will pick up quite a bit. But
Yeah, I think we'll see more toys and Legos probably coming out once they have a
exactly,
little bit more information that's already out on social media. It's not going to be, you know, oh, we just stole this from here, or this is a, you know, leaked thing where you're going to probably see. And I think we'll see all of the stuff that we've seen now that's been leaked. That's all going to be going public.
yeah,
So that'll all go public, and then hopefully we'll get some other things that we can relate to this movie, because I think those, like you said, those 3 Legos from earlier to give us a pretty good little idea of some of the other things that we could see in the planets and stuff like that that we'll see in the movie. So I think those things will start to increase a little bit more as we get more information on the movie.
yeah, I agree. And again, like you just said, these leaked things, like these leaked Lego, again suggests Hoth with this turret cannon. Sorry, chat. But also the snowy planet in the background, and again you got Grogu looks to be on Osis, which could change a lot, and even the Razer Crest box does have a background here that looks very oop, Adelphi basey, like the at least the planet behind it looks like it's from that base, which we know we'll be getting a lot of in this movie. So yeah, I mean, there's so much we don't know about this movie still, so much. But I think when we do get a full trailer, like an actual 2.5 minute, whatever, a lot will be revealed, but there'll be even more questions. That's sort
Yeah.
of the first reaction I had to this trailer was I have way more questions now than I ever did. That's not really the best spot you want to be in. But I think within the next couple, I'd say 3 to 4 weeks, we'll be getting a new trailer for this and more things like the Lego leaks, more things like the official images, more things like the what they were calling what they call it, blockbuster season. Was it? Yeah, blockbuster season. More stuff like this where we're gonna get to see them promoting these movies a whole lot more. But with that being said, I do have to get on out of here a little bit earlier today, but cannot thank Ron enough for joining me and helping me out. This was an absolute pleasure, and I know Star Wars fans may be disappointed, but when you put together the pieces, when you look at the actual things that are going on here, we could be getting Hoth, we could be getting Bespin, we could be getting the second Death Star and the Millennium Falcon in this movie, and of course Coruscant as well. But this movie, we are just getting the tip of the iceberg so far
Yeah.
when it comes to the marketing for this movie, and you're going to get to see a whole lot more in the months to come. So I wouldn't be too discouraged if you're still like that trailer was the worst. I hate this. This is horrible. We'll be fine. We'll be fine, and hopefully we'll even see the Millennium Falcon and Bespin. But
Yeah.
Ron, the floor is yours. Star Wars Jedi Chat. Tell them all about it.
All right. Wednesday nights, 7 o'clock. Mike's usually on there, myself, Derek, and Nick. So please come join us. We're talking about new stuff, old stuff. It's been fun. A couple weeks ago, Nick was bringing up some questions that had nothing to do with some of the new stuff. So we sort of get off track a little bit because I don't want to try to, you know, duplicate or ditto this show. Obviously, we will talk about some other things. There's so much to talk about.
Yeah.
Nick and Derek, we haven't talked to them about this new trailer and what they think. I know somebody had said something about did we prank Derek and tell him that Mace Windu was in the trailer, but no, he actually sent us a picture. He was hanging out with like comedians and stuff on the
Yeah.
so he wasn't having a bad time. So but hopefully we'll have everybody there tomorrow 7 o'clock. If you haven't, I'm gonna do a little promo for Mike. You go take a look at what Mike did in reference to this trailer. The short that he did on this, or the breakdown, is really cool. It's similar to what we talked about today, but it goes into a little bit more in-depth stuff, and
Yeah.
like we talked about today. So it's a really good breakdown for the trailer, even though some of us were like, but I go back to saying that people were excited about it that didn't know about it. We all knew about it. We all talked about it. We were all waiting for this 2-minute trailer that was going to crush it. So, but anyways, I digress. Wednesday nights, 7 o'clock. We also have some really cool interviews on there as well. So please go check it out. Hit the like button, subscribe, and join us tomorrow at 7 o'clock Central Time.
Yes, 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which I know you guys are so used to me saying. So throw it out there so you're not early or late. Either way, thank you, Ron, so much for being here. Yes, if you have not checked out that breakdown video yet for the trailer, it's not just a 30-second trailer. There's so much more to it. I know we talked about the Millennium Falcon stuff today. I go into way more depth in that video as well. So go check that out. Smash a freaking like on this stream if you have not already. Go subscribe to Star Wars Jedi Chat if you have not already. And by the way, 79% of you guys do think that the Millennium Falcon will be in the Mandalorian and Grogu. Almost 80% of you think it will be in the movie. That's pretty crazy, and that would change quite a bit about this movie, or at least what we thought we knew about this movie. So that's all. We will be seeing some Anzellans, that's for sure. Maybe not Babu Frick himself, but others of the same species.
True.
But with that, smash a freaking like on the stream, hit that subscribe, and may the force be with you. Always. My God, Chopper, I am going to fight you. Oh, yeah. What a great stream. What a great show. You guys are the absolute best. I appreciate you all so much more than you'll ever know. Finally, coming up, getting through the sickness that I had last week. My voice is sounding a lot better, not having the runny nose. And then this morning, Mike, you might have to throw up today. So that was fun. Fun. Love that for me. But hopefully on Thursday, we'll be feeling a lot better. Very, very cold up here and snowy and the worst. But until next time, smash a freaking like on the stream if you have not already. You know the deal. Go watch that breakdown if you have not already. Hit that subscribe and hit that bell. I'm trying to get that hyperspace fixed, but Chopper doesn't do his job around here. I don't know. What do I pay him for anyway? But hope you have a great rest of your evening, great rest of your lives, and good night, everybody.